Yes. Good morning and God bless. Raw at 4:04. We had a pump fake this morning, but we are ready to get to work. Thank you, God. I am alive today. I hope you are hyped because I am excited for life. Dominion doesn't ask twice. This message is not polite. It is not waiting. It is not checking how you feel before it moves forward. Because dominion doesn't repeat itself. If you are still asking for signs, still waiting for confirmation, still needing closure before your calling, then you already lost the moment that would have sealed your next move. If you missed it, it's not because God didn't speak. It is because you didn't act when he did. Welcome to Raw for Epoch 2, day 126. Some doors don't knock twice. Some moments are coded in consequence, not comfort. And if you treat dominion like it's optional, you teach your soul that delay is a valid decision. But dominion is not emotional. It is positional. And the throne, and don't wait for your self-doubt to catch up. Here's our concept overview. We're talking about delay. Delay is disobedience. Here's what you'll learn. Why dominion doesn't negotiate with your uncertainty. How spiritual timing exposes readiness, not convenience. Why hesitation reinforces disqualification. How asking for more clarity often reveals refusal, not humility. And what to do when you miss the first cue, but still want the crown. How many of you are Jesus Lord, who is out there that still wants the crown? Who wants the throne? It's still there. I don't care where you're at in your life. It's still there. Let's get into our visual metaphor. The bus that doesn't stop. Imagine this. You're standing at the curb. The bus you prayed for is rolling through. You recognize it. It has your name on it. It's the right number, the right route. But instead of stepping on it, you ask the driver, where's it going? You ask if there's Wi-Fi. You phone a friend to confirm. You post a story asking if you should go. And then it drives off. Not because it wasn't yours, but because you didn't move when it pulled up. Dominion does not break twice. Do not miss your bus. Here's my personal perspective. 4:08 on a Tuesday, I think it is. God bless. Where the chat at? Where the chat at? Where the chat at? Waiting for the bus. Dominion isn't delayed. It is decayed. We're playing with a lot of words this week. We were grasping, not gasping, right? Let me be clear. Here's what I believe, right? Life gives you second chances, even third, fourth, and fifth. Grace, the grace of God is infinite. But dominion responds to execution, not hesitation. And every time you pause on purpose, you are pausing on purpose, that's you pausing, quit on calling, or delay divine instruction, you dilute your future seat. Not because God stopped offering it, but because your soul stopped recognizing it. You should know me by now. I moved from a scroll I call the dominion divide. It's the line between being governed and being the governor. Do you hear what I'm saying? The dominion divide is the line between being governed. Are you running the system? Or is the system running you? And being the governor. Every soul stamped with the image of God carries this embedded right. The right to rule, to author, to establish control, to expand territory, to have full dominion over their design. And it is instinctual, it is inherited, and that instinct runs deep. Animals fight for it. Children demand it, even in silence. Creation craves hierarchy. Because dominion is written into the code of life. Your life, you too. But somewhere along the way, you forgot how to read it. You are born divine, but raised in systems that deny it. So you don't remember dominion when you're screaming in a crib. You don't remember it in class when you're told to sit down and stop dreaming. You don't remember it when they hand you a job description but no legacy. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just a matter of where you at with your dominion. Are you paying attention? Because slowly, you get comfortable surviving in a world that never taught you to govern. You become obedient to dysfunction, disciplined in doubt, conditioned to conform. And without realizing it, you stop seeking dominion and start seeking maintenance. You think you're in motion because life is happening, but you're actually stuck in submission. Because once you stop moving in remembrance, you start reacting from regression. You no longer build systems. You perform in systems built for you. You no longer lead your life. You let the world lease it back to you, one fear at a time. And that is the dangerous part. When you stop writing your scroll, you start starring in somebody else's. So now, you are not in dominion. You are in delay. You are not waiting on God. You're ignoring what he already said because dominion doesn't beg. Dominion doesn't repeat. It moves. And the only way to reclaim it is to move with it. The dominion divide. We're going to get into our system teaching and go over the dominion mechanics, but this is critical to be clear. You want authority of your life. You want control of your life. It is the willful instinct that you are born with. And the further you move from dominion, which is the authority and control, what have I been repeating this week almost religiously? If it's not you who got you there, it's not you who can take you out, which means you've lost control. We talked a few days ago about the two rats in the cage. Each of them were being shocked. One had the lever, that's control. One did not. And when you lose control, your body regresses. Your mind regresses. It paralyzes you because you are now submitting. So by all means, I talk about it every morning. I lower myself during my prayer and my meditation, and I surrender. So by all means, surrender. Let go. But let go into the control of your life. Don't let go and release control of your life. The difference between the two is significant in this principle I have, which is the dominion divide. You want authority over how you feel about your life. You have control over that. When you lose dominion of mind, body, and spirit, you lose control over how you feel about your life. You want authority and dominion over how you earn. One of the things we can't misconstrue and sort of be ignorant or naive about, there's a system already. Life has a system. Whether you accept it or not, whether you like it or not, it's a system. Where do you want to be in the system? There's a financial system. That's a lot of how we identify. You have control over your finances. It may not feel like it. You are paid relative to how life feels you are valuable. You have a skill set. You have a certain amount of knowledge and wisdom and experience. Life gives you a dollar amount for that. You don't like it? Expand your services and what you're able to offer life. Watch more money come in. But don't tell me you don't want to have authority and dominion over your finances to be able to procure more. You are your single greatest asset. What is your return on the investment of your life? So you want authority over how you feel, I assure you. And you want to feel great. You don't want to feel shitty about life. Nobody does. That's up to you. Finances, up to you. Your relationships, up to you. There's no relationship you're involved in right now, I don't care how deep, how long, how intimate, that you are beholden to. You want dominion over that relationship, and I'm not suggesting you should walk away. Maybe you should walk back into it. Huh? How about that? So you used to have dominion over your closest relationships, especially your significant other. I got 25 plus years. I've seen a lot. And the further you walk away from controlling the relationship, the further you stretch away from being in the relationship with control and authority, the more friction you have. I'm not saying that friction doesn't occur. My wife and I went at it last night. You understand? We had one of those moments because she moved into it and I moved into it. She was looking for her ownership. I was looking for my ownership. Our ownership clashed. It happens. But the further you walk away from dominion of what you want, the further your partner doesn't know what you want in the relationship, then the further you're divided. And then you're wondering, why am I not getting what I want in my relationship from my wife? Have you asked her for it? Or from your husband? Have you asked him for it? Your significant other? Does everyone you are involved in a relationship with know what you want from the relationship? That's dominion. One of the things when we were crashing out on each other last night, it was intense. It's intense right now. She has a lot going on. So I have to step back in to see where she's at. That's how I keep dominion. I have dominion over my wife. I know what she's thinking and feeling because I know where she's at. I know what she's going through. I'm not. This is going to be the one episode she watches in a while. I'm not suggesting she was right, wrong, or indifferent, or that I'm right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm just suggesting I own it. I know where she's at. I own it. I know where I'm at. So I can manage that relationship and understand, okay, she's looking for her dominion. What's creating friction in her life that is pulling her away from her dominion that got us in this situation, or it might have been me that instigated it. Point being, I said, yo, here's how we're going to get through this. What do you need me to do right now? She gave me a list of 6 things to do that were going to make her happy. I did all 6. And after I did all 6, I went to her, yo, all these 6 things are done. There should be nothing left to do. You good? Cool. I'm good. I get back to owning it. She owns it. And we can own the fact that there was some friction. But what we cannot do, what I suggest, actually you can. You can do it all you want. But you got to move with it, not from it, right? I had to learn that. That's one of the biggest feedbacks I received from my wife. There you go, running away. My daughter started doing it. There you go, running away. We're trying to have a conversation here. Sometimes you got to step away to keep dominion because you can't crash out too much. You need a deep breath, a woosah, and then you come back to it. But you got to move with it. The difficulty we face when we can't have acceptance when we can't surrender, because you can't, you as much as you want dominion, I can only control me. And when I control me to the highest level, I bring the highest me everywhere I go, but I don't know what else is vibrating out there. I don't know what life has in store for me today. I wake up, I have my habits, my rhythms, my patterns, my routine. I start with God, I end with God, and everything in between. I don't know what's going to happen. But I know that I own who I am, and I bring it everywhere I go, and whatever's there, I got it. I'm good. I could own it, even when it's indifferent towards me, or even when it hates me, or even when it pushes back on me. But if you stretch away from it and don't move with it, you lose dominion. And then you try to figure out, why do I feel so frustrated? Why is there so much friction? Because you don't own it. You are being owned by it. And the more life owns you, the more you regress into system behavior. The more you're the subject without the switch. You lost the switch on your life because you got shocked. And the dominion divide, I show you, if you assess and evaluate where you are, the further you are from owning how you feel about mind, body, and spirit, the more frustrated you're going to be. The more you are not in dominion and own the relationships you're in across the spectrum that life offers, environmental, relational, on, the more frustrated you will feel. Assess it, evaluate it. Sit with yourself today for 30 minutes and start asking yourself some questions like, hey, how did I get here? When's the last time you did that? Let's check the chat. Where you at, chat? Huh? Ooh. The Black Book, System Teaching for Dominion Mechanics. This is the raw and the real. This is the science and the math. Dominion is activated, not assigned. You aren't waiting for dominion. It is waiting for your authorship. The moment you move in remembrance, it recognizes you. Dominion, when you remember who you are and move how you're supposed to be, and you get spirited about life, the consciousness, God, the infinite universe will say, oh, I remember this person. I see that soul. I see that spirit. I gotta respond to it. That is why they say you can change you as effective and immediate as right now. It's waiting for you. Grab the pen. Write your own book. Or not. Let somebody write it for you. Come see me if God blesses you enough to realize your last breath is coming in your 120th year of life. Delays dilute design. Every time you hesitate, your system starts rewiring for caution instead of courage. The pattern you reinforce becomes the position you inherit. I'll tell you one thing one of my mentors always told me, right? As he was one of my directors, I was really young in my career. Everybody is always being evaluated. Everybody has a grade. You inherit the position you are in. You will not be stretched and promoted and risen up until you are given a higher grade. So you either move with courage or your system is like, we got to be cautious all the time. And the more that you decide to be cautious, the more you are risk adverse, the less that you move with intentionality around how you own your life for yourself, your position, it regresses as well. And not to be overlooked, you can explode into a position and flatten. And then wonder why. Because everything you did to get there, you paused it because you were likely scared to lose it. That's my greatest fear, right? That's why I come here every day. I assure you, I am beautifully blessed in a lot of ways. I assure you, I want to lose nothing of what I have right now. I assure you, if I did, I'd cry myself a river that is deep enough to drown the universe. But I can't let that guide me. I was thinking about this today during my prayer. When I asked God to elevate my soul and to go through remembrance, I said, I am fear. I am fear at its highest derivative because I am love at its highest derivative. We talk about the polarities. You can't inherit love without inheriting fear. I have to become fear. And I become fear not to provide caution to stop. It's to provide caution to say, yo, if you don't do nothing else, you will stay right here. I'm terrified of that. So what? I got to have courage. So I become fear to move me, not fear to stagnate, stasis, and paralyze me. Otherwise, what I have already inherited is already completed. When you wake up and you say, oh, wow, look at everything I got, that is completed creation. It's already becoming stale. It's like that food you put in the fridge that was really, really good and you forgot about it and you go in the back and it's now a science experiment. You decay. If all I do is continue to do what got me to where I'm at, all I'll continue to receive is exactly what I have, which is already expired. And the world has already leaped ahead of me. And the world is already and always will be ahead of me the way it would always be ahead of you. Because as you are completing something, somebody else is conjuring up the next thing and is in their form of completion. The collective, it's bigger than you and me. And God is working for everybody. So you get your moment in the sun and the shine. Woo, I'm good. This is beautiful. Somebody else is getting that. Somebody right now is wooing just like me and is ahead of me and is staying ahead of me and will probably always be ahead of me. So I have the courage to, it also takes courage to, how about this? It takes courage to stay where you at. It takes courage to look around and say, yo, if you come to realization and consciousness and you're like, yo, I'm so scared to lose everything I got and I'm gonna do everything I can to stay exactly right here. That takes courage. It takes courage to just stay right there. Because you gotta know that if you do nothing else, you're gonna stay right there, but everything pushes. And you'll feel the world pushing by you. And that sucks. But you're like this. You're trying to hold everything you got. You're creating the box. You surrendered and created a fortress and a box to block you when you should just break down the walls and just accept it and surrender that, yo, I'm going to keep moving. God speaks in momentum. How about this for a message? If you only recognize the message after it's gone, you weren't listening. You were stalling. Some of us get caught in that. I told you about the person I was speaking to recently. Oh, I think I want to do all these things. Good, go do it. God has already whispered to you. You got the message. The message decays. As you get it, go. You stop. You pause. You stall. You're losing momentum. What are you waiting for? When you heard it, you react to it. You respond to it. Create. Go. Action. And what do you think happens when you don't? And what do you think happens every time you hear a message and you let it go and you don't move on it? Your system does what? Your consciousness does what? Your spirit does what? Your heart does what? It receives it as, okay, I got the message. Don't do nothing. Do you hear what I'm telling you? You're listening or you're hearing. You're not listening. And you're creating a reaction of, I got the message. What do I do? Stop. Okay. Asking for confirmation is sometimes rebellion in disguise. Ooh. We know it. We want to reach and phone a friend. Yo, are you kidding me? Not only that, it dilutes the experience. Clarity isn't always divine. Sometimes it's just the comfortable mask we wear to avoid responsibility. Let me ask and then let me start a group chat, and then let me call let's see. All of that you're doing to see for confirmation, who can confirm you? Who can affirm you? Respectfully, how can I ask someone for their opinion about the message I received? That person is receiving different messages, and that person, respectfully, is going to process your message as themselves. They're going to assess and evaluate the data you give them based on what they know. They don't know what you know. They don't know why you've received the message. They are receiving different messages. You don't need to get confirmation. And if you do have a significant other and a partner that's really, really close to you, sure, leverage them, because they want dominion the way you do for you. Naturally, in a healthy relationship. But even them, I don't need to ask my wife. Respectfully, I move. I got the message. Go. I can confirm afterwards, yo, I got this message. I did these 6 things. I might have hit a wall. I might need a different perspective on what I've already done. So you bring them in afterwards to see, first of all, to not restrict you. And you're going to hit a wall. You're going to have a door come in front of you that you don't know how to unlock it. Use your relationships to help you unlock another door, not stop you from going to the door that's already open. The message is a wide open door telling you to walk through. You don't need confirmation. The door's open. Should I? No. Go through the door. But you put on comfort as a mask of authority to avoid responsibility to grow. And then you wonder why. Why is there this box around me? Because you built it and you sealed it shut and you rooted it all the way into the depths of the devil. And you wonder why you feel like hell and it's burning. Okay. Dominion can be missed. Dominion can be missed. It happens. We're human. I've missed dominion many times. But it can also be retested. God is merciful, not repetitive. Miss it once, grace might circle back. Miss it twice, that throne gets reassigned. That is the biggest consequence. We're going to get into the consequences of inaction. The biggest reality. You might get 2 chances at the one thing you're really supposed to do. The one thing that inspired you from maybe your youngest of innocence and imaginative possibility. Like you saw something. I really want to, I talk to my children about this all the time. My son, what's your biggest regret? That I had a feeling that you had at your age, and that feeling, that message, I got to do what it is you might want to do at your age. I can't do it anymore because I've aged out. So that throne that had my name on it, like we I'm sure we can relate. Some of us find ourselves a lot later. What does it mean when you find yourself a lot later, possibly like me in your 40s? That you missed many thrones. There were a lot of seats you could have sat at. There were a lot of tables with your name on it. It was there for you. You missed that. And you might have gotten a second chance at it. But the reality is that throne, that possibility, bring closure to that. It's gone. You might not be able to play for the Yankees anymore. But there's a different jersey. There's a different uniform. There's a different team with a different seat that you can still sit in. Some of the thrones get reassigned. God will give you mercy in that you can get another seat. This is what I believe my new seat is. I've missed many seats, many tables, many regrets. I don't know if I call them regrets. I guess they're regrets. Pain of, man. And then it's frustrating now because you're like, you balance it, right? It's natural. Now that I feel like I have dominion, it's so hard. I thought about this today. Maybe you want to explode your channel, right? I have a really big presentation for my 9 to 5. I'll present it in front of about 100 people today, varying degrees of leadership all the way up to executive level. My point is, when I sit in that throne, I got 20 plus years of, once I open my mouth, that's what I got the authority. I own that space. I don't have that same kind of authority. I've been on my channel for 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. So I have to be real and like, yo, I of course I believe I'm leaps and bounds ahead of what other people offer. Of course, I gotta believe that. That's not delusional. The same way in my career, I'm leaps and bounds ahead of everyone in my space. I'm in a very small percentage of people who can do what I do professionally because I've earned that. I haven't earned that all the way here. I can see it. I can feel it. I know the throne is warming up, but it might take a decade, yo. That hurts. That hurts too, because you start reflecting real time and you start projecting out and you're like, yeah, if I keep, imagine what, you could say, imagine what happens 10 years from now. Imagine what happens 10 years from now. And you get into something where you can see, 10 years from now, oh my God, it's going to be phenomenal. And maybe you've done something in your life that has been like me, 20 years in a space, and you have authority and dominion and you see what that brings you. But now you're trying to reassign that to somewhere else, but you need the time. The hardest thing to do is give time. But you got to move with dominion because the 10 years are going to pass anyway. And that seat that's warming up for you, I can't tell you when, but if you move towards it, there's consequences for inaction. Are you feeling it on a Tuesday? I ask you this. Are you running the system? Or is the system running you? Consequences of inaction. You'll train yourself to mistrust divine movement. You'll become obsessed with alignment while never taking authority. You'll mistake opportunity for manipulation. You'll become a spiritual spectator to a life you were built to govern. Worst of all, you'll teach the world to bypass you, and you'll crown fear as your internal advisor. It's not a coincidence. It's not just that the world, listen to the word, the world will bypass you because the world needs, what did we talk about? Might have been yesterday. I don't even know the days anymore. There is a person who's going to move the next crowd. One singular person. And there will be many singular people in many different spaces of dominion that will move the world forward. And the world will look at you like it could have been you. This was your seat, and it has to bypass you. And you'll teach the world to do that until eventually it's not that God and universe and the infinite and spirit will not continue to send you messages. It's that what you're going to tell the spirit is this: I don't want any more messages. You're behaving and identifying with lack and poverty-driven, broke-based mindset so much that the world is like, yo, you told me not to send you any more messages. And you wonder, you're like, why can't I hear anymore? Why can't I see anymore? Why can't I feel anymore? You asked for it. Through your complaining, through your lack of gratitude, through your lack of faith, through your fear-derived internal advisor, you are still wearing a crown. The consequence of inaction towards dominion for your life is that you will wear a crown that someone else put on top of your head, stamped you, put you in an assembly line, and just have you just rotate by. And I'll tell you right now, everybody's not going to get it. That's I don't want that for anybody. Straight up. I don't want that for me. Why would I want that for anybody else? Here's how to move when dominion speaks. Those are some nasty consequences, dog. You want to recognize the cue. Think back. What moment did you know to act but chose to stall? Write it down, not as shame, as a new start line. That's important and significant, right? Is there a moment where you chose to stall? You bring closure to that moment. You don't suppress it. You accept it. Maybe you cry about it. I don't know. Maybe you write an entire journal book, not just an entry. You write an entire composition notebook full of that time. And then what you do is, that is your starting line. Close the chapter of that book. Write a new chapter. Don't close the book entirely. That might be the longest chapter in the book, but you get to a new chapter. It's a new start line. Then you want to reauthor the position. Don't wait for a fresh sign. Re-enter the space you exited. Same place, new posture, no position needed. Yo, some of you can gain massively by going to work today, posturing up, and putting forth effort that exceeds the requirement for your role. Since we all want to get paid, since you seem to have difficulty hitting snooze. If you just decided today to put in 8 hours in your profession at a level that you've never done before and exceed and do that every day, you reauthor your positioning in your life and the world starts to respond to you differently and it'll carry over. That's why I encourage you to really start the day. You start the day, it has a trickle down effect. You end the day right, it has a trickle up effect. It's why I was thinking about this just yesterday. It's hard for me to talk about how I start my day without talking to you about how I end my day, because the ending transitions into the beginning the way the beginning transitions into the end. That's the craziness I'm starting to realize. Why do I start the way I start? Because I have to end the way I end. Why? I have to start the way I start. But my posture, no permission needed. If I'm given breath and life, I posture up. So stay where you're at, because you can't get any further than where you are right now outside of who you are and how you feel immediately. Like you can feel great, look around, nothing really changed, right? Your environment's the same, the place you live in is the same, the furniture's the same, the people are the same, the money's the same, etc. The bank account. Yeah, that's fine. But if you posture up and take dominion and ownership and you reauthor how you're going to approach it, yep, this is where I'm at. Yep, I have acceptance for it. Yep, I'm going to go get more. Slowly you start to change the narrative. Then you want to take the uncomfortable move. Pick the most friction-filled action in front of you. That is the one dominion is hiding behind. What do you want to do that feels massively uncomfortable? That feels so outrageous, you may not even want to share it with anybody. You ever had something like that happen to you? That you feel like you got to do something so strongly and you want to seek confirmation because you're used to seeking confirmation, but it sounds so like it's almost delirium and delusion and outrageous. You don't want to speak it out loud. That's the one dominion is hiding behind. Dominion for your life, ownership of your life will make you feel so much better. I can own how I wake up, how I move in spirit and physical body, in my thoughts and my emotions, how I move in my relationships, including where I work and where I clock in at. And just asserting myself in that way gives me back the feeling of dominion. The world now starts to respond to me differently. Maybe I feel better about picking some friction, but you got to take the uncomfortable move. You got to figure what makes your hair stand up? What gives you goosebumps? What makes you want to curl? Like you ever curl up on the fetal position inside your heart and your soul? Like you can feel yourself just shrinking because it's so scary? Find that. And if you move how that roll and throne and seat requires you to move and how you have everything today and show that grace and gratitude for what you have today, watch what happens. Dominion is hiding behind that. Let's get into our phone tap. The creation covenant loop, audit, remix, record. You got the call. I think that's a little bit different. I can't come up with a different ringtone outside of I can hear ones in my head. I don't know. I don't practice it enough. We start with an audit, our memory and emotion identity. Ask yourself, where did you pause when you were supposed to proceed? Name the exact moment Dominion pulled up and you flinched. What's that movie? I think it was Shaft. And Shaft is in the coffee shop and he pulls up to homeboy. Oh man, I love that movie. Shaft. Oh shoot, I can hear his name. But Shaft walks in and he's telling him he's gonna go get him, and his bodyguards stand up and Samuel L. Jackson makes a move and he flinches. He goes, "Puto, why you flinch?" Oh man, I love that movie. I love that scene. He got so mad when his bodyguard flinched. Oh, I could hear his name. Peoples. Peoples Hernandez. It's amazing as a Hispanic, how many Hispanic characters are depicted by non-Hispanics. That gentleman in the movie, I forget his name. He's a great actor. He's not Hispanic. He played a Hispanic role tremendously. Dominion. He has dominion over his authority. He could play a Hispanic role. He's not even Hispanic. You look at Carlitos Way and Scarface, right? Same dude, Italian. Played a Cuban and a Puerto Rican, right? Beautiful, beautiful scenarios and situations. That's dominion, owning it. But my whole point is for peoples, when he, Puto, why you flinch? What's the moment you flinched? Then you want a remix. This is our thought identity. Override the hesitation loop. Dominion doesn't wait for comfort, it moves through obedience. How about this for a thought? If I don't act on remembrance, I default to fear. Remember who you are. I got into an analogy I journaled yesterday based on this Prometheus ring. I'm into another book that's just staggering. And they talk about how you are imprinted on. And based on how you are imprinted, and there's this analogy in it that blew my mind. It's almost comical to think about it. But based on how you are imprinted, it has a massive impact on how you view life. Remembrance is like at one point you were clean. Clean meaning when you were birthed into this world, have you ever thought about the reality that you had? Like if you, and there's something just scared the shit out of me over here. If you raise and have raised children, do you realize when that child breaks womb and it sees light, it has never seen light before? Right? It's being introduced to the senses of light and sound and feeling and emotion. This is clean. It doesn't know how to identify with any of that. So if you can't remember the reality that at some point you were just clean and you were imprinted on, and you are exactly who you think you are. You think it, you prove it, right? I'm just but a thinking thing. Also, we are a product of our environment. Do you understand the significance of that cliche? Your environment has imprinted on you. I grew up in the South Bronx, and it's the hood. There's a lot of hoods. It's third world countries. So depending on where you were introduced, that is what that your it's not innocence. Just the fact you were a clean consciousness. If you can't remember the fact that at some point it was just clean, you default to fear. So that's remembrance. Remember that your soul has an identity that doesn't have to be attached to anything. You can wipe it clean. In fact, what I was reading also, one of the things in the psychoanalysis, when people start to really get overwhelmed and they start to break down, what they try to do is they try to wipe your memory clean, dog. They put you in a trance, and they try to essentially bring you back to before you experienced all this. Why? They're trying to clean you. They're trying to bring you to remembrance. Remember that you don't have to be these things. You don't have to feel this way. You don't have to identify this way. You don't have to. Society and life and the way things work will make you believe you have to. You could if you just walked off the grid today, like in the Truman Show, you just walked out. Remember the Truman Show? He was just being watched. If you just walked out and walked away and took back ownership and remembered that you can do whatever, you really can do whatever you want. It takes effort and work. The reason you don't is fear. It doesn't feel like you can attach fear to it, but it's fear. You might label it other ways. I don't want to lose what I got. Fear. What if it doesn't work? Fear. What if I'm not good enough? Fear. Oh, I'm good right here. Fear. You're just good? Point is, if I don't act on remembrance, I default to fear. Remember that you can possibly remember back to when it was just clean. That's part of you want to surrender. Surrender all that you think you are and all that you think you know. Can you surrender that deeply? That's a great feeling, that you can sort of blank your own mind. One of the things they tell you, meditation, try to stop thinking. You ever try to stop thinking? That's remembrance. How do you identify then? Strip all your labels. When somebody asks, who are you? I work for, what the fuck is that? That's not you. Strip all your labels. Strip all the material. That's remembrance. And when you can make it that clean, then you can start to re-record. Action, identity. Move immediately. We say this a lot. Make the call, send the message, write the script, step back in the room, not to feel ready, to prove you still carry the crown. Some of us need that baseline level set. We need to be reminded that we still can. We need to be reminded that there still are other crowns. We need to be reminded, too, that everybody can have a crown. Don't be that self-centered. And maybe you are the person to inspire somebody else to a bigger crown. Maybe you like to be sort of in the middle of things. Maybe you like to be in the front. Maybe you like to be in the back. Whatever it is you like to be, it's a crown worthy of you, as long as you determine it, as long as you decide this is how I create my dominion. This is how I create this is how I own. The throne. It isn't sentimental. The throne is system governed. And when you stall, you signal to heaven you aren't serious about what you prayed for. And because of how I believe, I can just your thoughts, God doesn't watch, he observes. And what you think is in constant observance by all the observances around you. Do you think you're the only one playing this game? When you stall, you signal to heaven you aren't serious about what you prayed for, and you are praying. But God's not petty. He just doesn't repeat instructions to the same identity. So either move or get moved out, because dominion doesn't ask twice. Own it or be owned by it. You either run the system or the system runs you. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich.